What is up, everyone? My name is Socrates101 and today we are back with PICA week number 3. I'll just put my fingers up in the air, but it's fine. This week we're playing Sequim Malamars, who are currently 2-0, and we're 2-0 too, and this guy, RobotnikIsSexy, if you've been a long-time subscriber of mine, you know this guy. A link will be down in the description, and he has beaten me 2 times in a row already, and I don't want to call him out on that, but he beat me twice because of hacks, and I already told him in Skype chat, your luck will run out eventually, and then I'll be there. So, let's see if that happens tonight, but first, before we go into the battle, let's do some team prep. This is the team I brought, and in your right corner, you can see the team he has. So this is Sylveon, Mega Aggron, Volcanion, Rotom Wash, Espeon, Cobalion, Noivern, Hitmonchan, Diggersby, Ludicolo, and Archeops. As you can see, he doesn't have an awful lot of hazard removal. He has a Magic Bouncer and an Espeon. That just has a lousy matchup against my team, so I'm not assuming that he's bringing that. He might bring that. I have some prep for it on the Stoutland mainly, and Crobat can probably take it on as well because I think it Brave Bird kills. But and Archeops gets Defog. I'm not sure if Noivern gets Defog, and his Hitmonchan knows Rapid Spin. He brought a form of hazard removal, but I figured, you know what, let's just try and apply pressure upon his team as good as we can with some hazards. But unfortunately, I don't have spikes, so that idea went in through the drain real quick. But RobotNik really likes his Noivern, likes to run that specs, and also has a Volcanion on his team, so I was forced to bring this set. I was forced to bring Assault Vest, Spadef, Slowking just to take hits. I have 28 defense EVs because what this allows me to do is live a Choice Scarf, Jolly Choice Scarf, Diggersby knockoff after Stealth Rock switch in, that is. So it does about, I think it's 87.8. So that's why we have 28 in defense. I ran a lot of calcs for this match. I have to, because I was pretty nervous and I really wanted to win this because this is probably one of my biggest division matches out there. So that's why we brought this set. Psyshock is there to deal big damage to Sylveon. Scald is there just because it's Scald and it's obligatory really. Ice Beam is there because of Noivern. And Future Sight, I had in this slot Seismic Toss, and I put the very last second I put Future Sight in it. Ended up using it quite a bit, but it wasn't as effective as I wanted it to be. But I had Seismic Toss in case he wanted to bring Max HP Volcanion, and then Psyshock, Scald, nor Ice Beam could break the sub. So that's why I had Seismic Toss there, but Seismic Toss does not work with Regenerator, so I had to change either Regenerator or Future Sight, and obviously I went to Regenerator on my Slowking because otherwise it's kind of useless. You can only switch in twice to a Noivern and then it's kind of over, and I don't want that. My team didn't really have a lot for Rotom Wash, apart from this guy, so obligatory Shaman. I have 108 speed, which is enough speed to outspeed Max Speed Volcanion. If he decides to bring that for some reason, there's not really need to do that, but I decided just to speed creep Max Speed Volcanion. I have Seed Flare, Earth Power. Seed Flare, Earth Power is basically there to hit Mega Aggron. Doesn't do as much, only does about 30%. But I kind of wanted to bring a Fist F1 because I kind of wanted it to take on Mega Aggron. But then I forgot it gets Avalanche, and that just still 2-hit KOs me. So that will come into play a bit later on. But for the rest, I have Seed Flare, Toxic, and Rest. Rest because this thing doesn't die. If you've seen my week 2, then you realize that Shaman does not like dying, and this is just great. I love this Pokemon. But so Shaman is there to take on Rotom Wash and actually dish out some damage to Mega Aggron as well, because it doesn't really, and kind of deal with Ludicolo because Ludicolo needs Ice Beam and that's on stop to hit it with, and then it just can Seed Flare it and doesn't like taking those. I have Hippo. Hippo is max HP, max defense. No idea why these 12 Spadef EVs are there. They're there for a reason. Oh, they're there because then I can take a Specs, Noivern, Draco Meteor from full. So that's why those are there. The rest is just defense because I have nothing on my team that takes on Bandit Diggersby. and I'm sure Robotnik realizes that, and he will make use of that because he really loves Bandit Diggersby. He uses it a lot. He uses a lot of Scarf and Bandit Diggersby, so I'm kind of assuming that those one of those is going to come this game. Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Slack Off, and Whirlwind. I don't want him to set up with anything. I'm not sure what he could potentially set up with, but I'm scared he'll pull something out of his ass, and that's why Whirlwind is there. Earthquake because it hits the majority of his team apart from Rotom Wash, but Hippowdon doesn't hit Rotom Wash anyways, and I have Shaman for that, so I'm not too fussed about Rotom Wash in general, and switching it in on this thing will be kind of obvious, but I need to keep it healthy, so the majority of time after this thing has taken damage, I'm going to click Slack Off anyway. Next up is Infernape, which is Swords Dance Charcoal, because Flare Blitz, Oko's Max Defense, Sylveon at +2, so that's why that's there. Close Combat and Mach Punch. Mach Punch in case you wanted to bring out Scarf Diggersby, or just Bandit Quick Attack, so outspeed and prioritize that, and just outspeed some of General Mons just to try and get some chip damage. Maybe Ludicolo and Rain, that will also do a lot. Iron Fist boosted Mach Punches. Close Combat is just there because it hits things really hard. After Swords Dance, even Rotom Wash cannot take one of these. Statland is there because it's great. He doesn't have an awful lot of switch-ins apart from Mega Aggron, which is a solid switch-in, because Superpower still does about 35 to 40%, so it's not great. I have enough speed to outspeed Scarf Diggersby, because once again I'm really worried about that thing, and that also automatically allows me to outspeed Noivern, so I can come back in. Retaliate is a move that doubles the power as soon as if an ally fainted last turn, so that's kind of a niche thing I wanted to throw on there just to make Stoutland a good revenge killer, dish out some extra damage. And last we have Crobat, which at first I wanted to run a special set, Sludge Bomb Heat Wave or Air Slash Heat Wave, but I decided against it because all of a sudden I thought, wait, Super Fang, this is enough speed to outspeed Noivern, and I figured, you know what, let's just dump the rest in attack because I didn't really bring this thing for anything else apart from dishing out a bit of damage and getting rid of hazards on my side of the field and just being nuisance in general. I could also potentially deal with Cobalion, especially with the Super Fang Bravebird combination. And also, in case he wants to set up substitutes, I have Infiltrator Bravebird, so that's going to be of big help as well. So, let's see what he decided to bring. He decided to bring Sylveon, Volcanion, Rotom Wash, Mega Aggron, Hitmonchan, and of course Diggersby. Diggersby was the main concern, but I was pretty happy to not see Noivern because Slowking, that immediately alleviates or makes Slowking's job less stressful because it only has to take on the Volcanion. Rotom Wash gets checked by Shaman. This thing gets destroyed by Infernape. Can't Oko it. Infernape sets up in his face, and then it just straight up Okos it, and then Mach Punch will do the rest. Infernape will be key in this match because I feel like it can sweep, especially with the things that he brought. So, maybe Stoutland, well, I don't think Stoutland does all that much. I mean, as soon as Mega Aggron is gone, and I get this thing going in Sand, it fucks the world. And I really want that to happen, because that's his only normal resist right there. So I need to get rid of this thing, and then Stoutland can put in a massive shift. And Golbat is just, Crobat is just there to weaken stuff. So, I decided to lead with Slowking because the only thing I was kind of scared of otherwise leading were Diggersby, and I have a switch in for that, which is my Hippowdon, or Rotom Wash, which I saw switch in, which is my Shaman. All the other things I would be fine leading off with Slowking. So I get the lead off perfect because he switched in Volcanion and he decides to HP Grass right off the bat, and I just toss up a Future Sight. What I should have done here is go into my Crobat because this is obviously Hidden Power Grass, and I calc this is Specs Volcanion, this is Modest Specs Volcanion. But for some reason I stay in and I just go for Psyshock, and that does pitiful damage. So I should have calced how much HP he had so I would know how fast it would be, but or how much other mons would do damage. But Future Sight does do a lot. I'm really happy with that. I just didn't calc it for some reason. But I just go into my dedicated switch in, which is my Shaman, and he's just gonna go out into his Aggron right here. I should have switched layouts right there. I'm sorry for that, but there we go. And so what I decided to do here was just try and get up some. He switches in Aggron. I figured, you know what? Let's Seed Flare, and gaze damage. And then also try and get a Spadef drop on it, and so I can hit it with an Earth Power next turn, and that will do way over half. But unfortunately, none of that happens. It reveals Avalanche, and I figure, you know what, Slow can go, because this thing probably can't touch you. I'm assuming Stealth Frogs, Avalanche, Heavy Slam, and then maybe some other coverage move, maybe Toxic, I'm not sure. But Slowking doesn't really care too much about getting Toxic. But I got all this right. I go for Future Sight. Figured, well, Rotom can't really touch me, so I'm just gonna fire up a Side Shock right there. Guess what he wants to do? But he wants to T-Bolt me. And here I just go for a Volt Switch, but I just throw in Shaman in front of it, so that's fine. And what'll happen next is he goes into Sylveon, and I decide to just go for a Rest. So Future Sight actually comes in handy because I can tell that this Shaman, Sylveon isn't Specs, but in fact is some sort of a Cleric that he wants to use. I put down the here he crits me with Hyper Voice, so Shaman is back at where it was before I rested really. So now I'm kind of forced out. I know he probably doesn't have anything to hit Bat with, so I just go into Bat, and so I go into Crobat right here, and I just really wanted to Super Fang, but he predicts that. He predicts a good switch, and he goes for Baton Pass, so he wants to keep momentum, goes straight into Diggersby, and wants to go for a knockoff. I just go in my dedicated switch in a Powdon right here, and after he hit me with a knockoff, I realized, you know what? This is Bandit. I didn't figure it was Jolly or Adamant, but as soon as it was Adamant, I get 2 KO by Choice Bandit Adamant Return, so I have to slack off right here. He switches in Rotom, and I figure, you know what? Okay, I don't want you to Pain Split me, or to bury me, so I'm just gonna go straight in my Shaman, which is just Shaman's only job is at this point is to check this Rotom. And Rotom is almost dead, so Shaman's job is almost done. Hydro Miss here is not all that big because, well, Shaman would have gone down here, but Hydro Pump is going to miss eventually. But I just hit him up with Seed Flare, and Rotom is going to die. I was praying it's a hit, but it didn't matter because he had a lot of speed investment, probably max speed Rotom. So because that actually does reasonably well against my team. Here gonna Hitmonchan, he goes in Hitmonchan, and Mach Punch is super obvious. So I just go straight into my Bat, just to apply some pressure to this guy, and he just goes for Mach Punch. I figured I could sack Shaman a bit later on in this game. It reveals to be Life Orb, so that's something to keep in mind. And what we do is I just go for a Super Fang right here because I really want to get up damage on the Mega Aggron and just bring it to about 40%. But in fact, he goes into Volcanion, I miss a Super Fang, which is kind of big because if I hit that Super Fang, then it would have been in range of a Brave Bird right there. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen. We miss, so I have to sack Shaman right here to go straight into Shaman. And at this point, I was really considering, because he's at -2 right now. Should I go into Infernape, set up, and do as much damage as I can, and then just try and finish it off with Stoutland? But instead, I decided the other way around, and he's obviously going to go into his Mega Aggron, so I click Superpower right here. And in fact, he does go into his Mega Aggron, and what I do is just go for Superpower, and that does 37%, and that's pitiful damage. Stoutland, you're weak. So, he goes into Slowking. I go into Slowking because that works. And he goes into Sylveon and just to fire off a Hyper Voice really, but oh, just to toss up a Wish, that's it. I throw it with Future Sight, which I've done way too often, but I just want to keep up pressure as much as I can. And here I just go for Scald because I didn't want him to pass that into his Mega Aggron. And now I figure, you know what, I'm just going to Gaze damage. And here it protects, but also I figured he'd negate the Future Sight, but that doesn't happen, of course, because Future Sight goes through Protect. Now, I'm just gonna go. I'm assuming I'm just gonna go into my Crobat right here. Also get some Regenerator on my Slowking, because that's great for taking on this dude. And he's gonna fire off Steam Eruption right here, and I'm just gonna go on my Slowking, and he's going to in fact stay in. Which I didn't expect, so I just tossed up another Future Sight right here, but what I should have done is just gone for the Side Shock right here. But he gets a burn eventually, which means I can't take another one, and Slowking has to go down, but he doesn't want to take that future sight, so that's a good play on his part. Slowking is going to go down eventually because it's super low and I can't switch into Volcanion anymore anyways. He's going to die to 2. Nobody crits me, and I didn't like that one bit of the game, but it's fine because now I can just Brave Bird, and at this point I figure, you know what, he's more than likely going to go out into his Mega Aggron right here. So I wanted to go double into my Infernape, but I didn't have the balls to do it at the time. So I just go into my Slowking and fire off a Scald, which actually gives his Volcanion more health. I really should have gone for a Side Shock right there because that was my overall best play. But now I have to go into Stoutland, and seeing that he went into his Mega Aggron last time, that's his only remaining Stoutland check, I figured he probably is going to predict me to Superpower, and then he probably wants to attack me. So what I do is click Retaliate. That is doubled in power because Slowking just died, and if that was max HP, this was a roll in my favor. It was in fact an 81.3% chance to kill. So only if he was max HP. If it wasn't max HP, then it was guaranteed Oko anyway. So he goes into Diggersby. That's fine. I have my counter. I just go into Hippowdon, and here I can finally tell that this guy is in fact Jolly Band and not Adamant Band. So I can take 2 returns from full instead of it doing a minimum of 53. But here I figure he probably wants to wish, he probably wants to heal, and otherwise, even if he doesn't, then that's fine as well. So I just Earthquake to Sylveon, and now he wants to heal Mega Aggron. But as you can see, Avalanche gets negative priority and hits me first. So I hit him with the Whirlwind right here because I don't want Mega Aggron to go back to full. And I Whirlwind him out into the best thing possible, which is Hitmonchan. And Hitmonchan is weak as piss, and Hippowdon laughs in its face. Even with the Life Orb, that only does about 30%. So this is a tier 5 Pokemon for a reason, and it's proven it right here. And this is a tier 1 Pokemon for a reason. It's my Fist Death Wall, and it's just great. Hippowdon is great. So I'm just going to slack off until I'm back to full, really. So I'm just going to slack off one more time, and then Hitmonchan is going to realize, well, I can't do shit to this guy, and I just switch in Crobat right here. I think I switch in Crobat right here. And at this point, I figure, you know what, the only thing I need to win right now is damage on Diggersby, and then Infernape has this in the bag. So I was contemplating Super Fang, Brave Bird. I decided to go Brave Bird because it's more accurate, and he reveals to go for Banded Quick Attack right here. So that actually works out in my favor, so I can get guaranteed damage. This is because Iron Fist boosted Mach Punch does a minimum of 54%, so he's in Mach Punch range. But I can just go straight into my Hit Power right now and just fire off safe just free Earthquakes right here. He goes for a Quick Attack. That doesn't do anything. That's straight 18%. What I can do now is just fire off an Earthquake. Hitmonchan is almost going to die to that, and I'm just going to fire off another Earthquake. And after this damage, I'm still not in range of Choice Banded Diggersby. So that's good for me. Because that means that he has to go out into his Mega Aggron first just to get some chip damage on me. I actually set some Stealth Rocks, which I thought was a silly play because that was very unnecessary. But he goes for Heavy Slam right here, which is the optimal play. It doesn't do as much as he probably would have liked, but this actually brings me in range of a Choice Banded Earthquake or Return. And at this point I decide, you know what, I want to keep Hippowdon and just sack Crobat, and then just finish it off with a Mach Punch from Infernape. Also could have gone for a Close Combat, by the way, but it's fine. So what I do is I switch to Crobat, and he decides to lock himself into Earthquake. So instead of going for Brave Bird and then winning 3-0, I decided to go for Super Fang first, just because he's locked in. I've already established that he is in fact Choice Banded Jolly. So I just go for Super Fang. That brings him into 25%, and here he's at a point where I don't die to Brave Bird Recoil. So instead of winning 3-0, I win 4-0, which mathematically puts me still on top of everybody, and that's the only reason why I did that, because I kind of wanted to establish dominance, as PC Reviver would say. So that's gonna be it for today. Hope you all enjoyed. I most certainly did enjoy his battle. Once again, RobotNik is a great league battler. His games are always great, really tense, and everything of that will be in the description down below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye.